Good evening and welcome to our special edition of the 2024 US presidential election. Today, another historic moment in American history. Just as it was on November 5th, 1872, when the suffrage Susan B. Anthony casting a vote in the US presidential election, the first woman to do so at that period. On August 28, 1963, thousands of Americans, hundreds of thousands of Americans gathered at the Washington National Mall, just a few blocks away from here, to listen to their leaders, where the Reverend Martin Luther King delivered the iconic speech, "I Have a Dream." Today, those two events that I mentioned converge together to create another historic moment today, where we now have one of the two candidates in this consequential historic election moment in American history. We have a black woman, a black South Asia woman representing the Democratic Party. And on the opposite side, we have the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, who is running for the third time for the office, representing the Republican candidates. They are both opposite in the agenda for the country. However, it is an invigorating time as we canvass across the Washington DMV area today, talking to American voters, listening to what they have to say about this period, what it means to them, the consequences of the results that we're still waiting for as they come in, and what they expect for whoever it is that we occupy the building that we're seeing in that light behind me, starting in January of next year. This is what Americans that we spoke to today have to say about this historic moment, this historic time that is not only consequential for America, that we have significant impact on the global agenda as well. As one of the number one takeaway from the conversation that we had with this voter is American leadership in the world is very, very important to America. Take a listen. Just a quick question on this election day. This is an historic day for the U.S. Did you vote, Ellie? Did you vote today or you voted, Ellie?
I voted by mail because I'm from Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I'm registered there. I voted by mail.
So what are some of your concerns?
Well, God, what am I not concerned about? I think my main thing that is really driving me is the abortion issue. I think that's something that, you see across the country. Women are, and everybody is in favor of, abortion rights, and yet we still have our politicians are making decisions to try and restrict those rights, but the vast majority of women and Americans support abortion rights. So it's really going against the will of the people, which is not what democracy is about. I also just think a lot of the behavior by our former president is just not what leadership should be, and I think one of the central role of the president is to be a role model and to be a leader, and I don't think that he has the qualities that we want future generations and our children to
aspire to.
Yeah, exactly. So
are you concerned about the economy?
As a young person, I should be concerned about the economy, but I honestly don't really understand it well enough to say that it's a major concern. I think, the price of housing, especially where I'm from in Massachusetts, it's definitely a problem. but I also don't know how much the president can really influence that. People say gas prices are this and it's all Biden's fault, but like, to my understanding, the president doesn't really have anything to do with gas prices. So I would like to see like food be cheaper and housing be cheaper, but at the end of the day, I don't really know how much role the president plays in that.
Okay. Whoever it is that is elected either tonight, most likely we might not get the result tonight, but we will get it by the end of this week. What would you like them to do when they get into the office? If you have 1, 2, 3 things, or just one thing to say that you would like them to tackle.
I think the most important job of the president is to be a global leader, and I would really like to see like foreign relations.
Foreign policy.
Yeah, I would really like to see that be a priority, especially as you have so many wars going on in this world that the U.S. does have such an influential role in, even if we're not directly involved. And so I think trying to maintain good diplomatic relations is really important, and it's part of the reason why somebody who's kind of a loose cannon like Trump concerns me to be in that position.
Okay, so your top priority: women's rights, freedom, foreign policy, as well as values, American leadership, on national leadership, as well as global leadership. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for talking with me about this election. This is an historic night.
Yes,
Talk
it
to
is.
me about what you're feeling, how the voting experience was for you.
The voting experience was pretty, the process was pretty quick, efficient, it's like in and out within like 15, 20 minutes. But therefore, with the 2 potential candidates, it was a very hard decision. I feel as though with either or party, they're really going to win, going to lose. It's a lose or win with both sides. So
You said it was a very hard decision. Why?
I'm sorry, can you stop that?
Oh, why was it a hard decision for you?
Because I feel as though that on either parties, you're losing out on either parties. It's not so much as a victory for either, because there's pros and cons with both of them. In regards to, some may want Trump, thinking that they're going to get extra money and anything like that, when in reality, he never really gave us any money. It came from the government. And with Kamala, I would say regards to the abortion, but that's still not going to stop anything. Most women may vote for her because, having a woman to be the face of, America, it's a good look, but at the end of the day, you got to look at the benefits that she brings to the table.
And what are top 3 issues for you? I know you have kids.
Equality. For everybody to be able to use their freedom of speech, not to be muted or limited to certain things within your life. As a woman, I feel as though we should have our own rights and ownerships in regards to making the prior decisions and or choices, especially when, having a baby. It shouldn't be no one else's choice to decide what we can and cannot do with our body.
Okay. So you gave me 2. What idea does the economic factor into your
Yes, economics.
immigration?
Yes, it does. Economics, along with immigration. I mean, I'm not an immigrant, but I would say to make it all, how can I say, equal for all parts, for all branches within the diverse culture of the United States of America.
Okay, whoever it is that get elected into office this week, what would you like them to do when they get into the office? The number 1, 2 things that you would like them to do? 1 or 2?
I would
What would
say
you like them to fix that you're not happy with right now?
equality. I mean, safety. There's a lot of things that's going on now within safety. A lot of things that I've read up in regards to, public housing. Also with the district benefits that most people, get. Social Security, if it's any type of public assistance and everything like that, are now that they're coming to a point where that's going to cease as well. I feel that just the economics part, the safety.
Economic and safety. So you will like the next president-elect to fix equality and make sure Americans are on equal
I
footing.
treat it fairly. I treat it fairly on all aspects, not just one, but all aspects, because we are humans as well as they are. Because if they can eat, we should, be able to, not necessarily saying eat when I say like physically eating, but I'm just saying if they're living comfortably, we should be able to do the same. We shouldn't dictate on how, what, when, and where, and how you should do it, when you should do it. Who is more suitable to receive the type of, incentives, and
Who is
isn't.
who is more privileged
It
to,
could do, yes,
to go to
because
school?
there's the more privileges and then there's some that's below. So, that you're not getting it. So it's like you have to meet a certain criteria. And I feel as though, like I said, equality, everybody should be treated fairly. Goes back down within the segregation part where they feel as though this particular race deserves more equality than it is with us. Than it is with us. And I feel that that's not fair. It's not fair at all. It shouldn't be a criteria if you only meet 30 to 40%, you're not eligible for. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you are overly high and you living in, I would say the suburbs of Washington, D.C., and your income is about $150K a year, you're qualified. But some people who have good jobs and work hard to get to, where they are living nice, areas, I feel as though we should be treated just as the same.
Okay. You're from Texas.
I am.
And you are visiting now Washington, D.C.
I am.
So this is an historic time for you and your family to be here. We have this historic election between two different candidates. And could you talk to us about some of the issues that are concern to you in this election?
Yes. The foreign policy.
Foreign policy?
Yes. I am very worried about a conflict with Iran.
The conflict with Iran?
I'm worried about a conflict with China.
With China?
Now I'm worried about a conflict with Russia.
Okay. So, foreign policy is a top priority for you.
Yes.
And that includes American leadership in the world.
Yes.
Okay. So, what about the economic? Is that of concern to you?
Oh, sure. But not as important, in my opinion, as the foreign policy.
Why is that more important
Because
to
that's
you?
important to the world. The weapons that are capable of mass destruction, okay, to me that's a lot more important than the value of the dollar.
Okay.
You see where I'm going here?
Yeah. Those weapons, you are more concerned about the security, the national security of America, as well as the security of the world.
Mostly the world.
Mostly the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that affects America. America affects the world.
What happened to the rest of the world affects America, and what happened to America will affect the world. We saw that during the pandemic.
Correct.
We saw what happened during the pandemic, and as you said, with some of the crises that are going on in Ukraine, in Middle East right now, they will have significant impact on us. Thank you
Yes.
very much for talking with me.